Absolutely. Here's the script for the first section titled, The Whisper You've Been Ignoring, written in a deeply emotional and motivational tone, around 800 plus words. Starting with a thought-provoking question and maintaining immersive flow. Have you ever felt like something inside you is calling, but you keep silencing it? You know the feeling, that quiet, restless voice in your chest? The one that shows up when everything else goes still. When the noise fades, the world pauses and you're alone with your thoughts. That whisper, that pull, that urge to be more, do more, become more. It's not loud, it never shouts. But it's persistent. It speaks when you delay your dreams. When you say, I'll start tomorrow. When you know deep down that you were made for something greater, but choose comfort instead of challenge. That voice doesn't judge. It doesn't punish. It just waits, hoping you'll finally listen. If success had a voice, it wouldn't scream, it wouldn't beg. It would whisper, because it knows its power. It would say, I've been here the whole time, waiting for you to wake up. The truth? Most people don't fail because they're not capable. They fail because they stop listening. They drown out that inner guidance with distractions, with doubt. With the voices of others who gave up on their own dreams a long time ago. You weren't born to live quietly. You weren't meant to blend in. That fire in your soul, that urge to rise, to build, to conquer. That's not imagination. That's your instinct. That's the voice of success reminding you who you really are. But somewhere along the way, life taught you to mute it. You were told to be realistic, to play it safe, to shrink, to settle, to survive. They never told you that playing small would eat you alive. They never warned you that ignoring your purpose would feel like slow death. And so here you are, breathing but not alive, moving but not progressing, smiling but not fulfilled. And yet, that voice still speaks. Maybe it's faint, but it's still there. When you lie awake at night wondering if this is all there is. That's it. When you see someone chase their dream and feel a sting of envy, not hate. That's it. When you know deep in your heart you're capable of more than you're showing the world. That's it. It's not your imagination. It's your identity calling you back. And if you have the courage to listen, really listen, everything can change. Because here's the truth that nobody tells you. Success is not an accident. It's not reserved for the lucky or the gifted. It's attracted to those who prepare for it. Those who show up consistently, even when no one claps. Those who get back up one more time than they fall. Those who decide, once and for all, that they are done waiting to be chosen, because they're choosing themselves. You don't need permission to change. You don't need approval to grow. You need one decision. To stop ignoring the whisper. To stop betraying your own potential. Yes, it's going to be uncomfortable. Growth always is. But you know what's worse. Regret is the price of silence. The cost of not acting when you knew you could. And one day, whether it's a year or a decade from now, you will look back and either be grateful you listened or haunted because you didn't. So let this moment be the turning point. Let this be the day you stop pretending that voice inside you doesn't exist. The day you stop choosing fear over faith. The day you stop trading your calling for convenience. Because if you don't listen to success when it whispers, you'll eventually be forced to hear the silence of a life unlived. And that's a sound you don't want to live with. But there's good news. If you're still breathing, you still have a choice. That voice inside you, it hasn't given up. It's still speaking right now. And it's saying this, I haven't gone anywhere. I'm still here. I believe in you, even if you've forgotten how to believe in yourself. So listen, lean in, pay attention, because everything you want, everything you're capable of, begins with this decision, to listen and to act. And if you stay with that voice, if you follow its guidance, no matter how hard the path may be, then success isn't just possible, it's inevitable. Would you like me to proceed with the next section in a similar tone and format? And once you choose to listen, once you finally decide to follow that quiet inner voice, you're faced with a new question. How do I stay on the path when motivation fades? Because it will fade. The truth is, no matter how inspired you feel in this moment, there will come a day when that fire dims, when life hits you hard, when distractions seem louder than purpose, and you'll start to wonder if you still have what it takes. That's where most people stop. They wait for motivation to return, not realizing that motivation was never meant to lead, it was meant to follow. What leads is discipline. What carries you through the storm is the decision to keep moving, even when you don't feel like it. See, anyone can act when they're excited. Anyone can chase a goal when the path is clear, the rewards are visible, and everything feels right. But true success is built in the days when it doesn't. When your mind says stop, but your heart whispers, keep going. Discipline is showing up for yourself even when no one else is watching. It's choosing progress over pleasure, purpose over comfort, and long-term growth over short-term relief. It's the quiet work done behind the scenes, the daily choices no one celebrates but everyone eventually notices. There's something powerful that happens when you stop negotiating with your feelings and start honoring your commitments. You stop asking, do I feel like it? And start declaring, I do it because I said I would. That's when your mindset changes. That's when your actions gain weight. That's when success begins to pay attention. Your brain is wired for survival, not success. It wants safety, predictability, and ease. But success demands discomfort. It demands that you train your mind to value discipline more than dopamine. And that kind of training doesn't happen once. It happens daily. Think about this. Every time you choose discipline over distraction, you're casting a vote for the person you want to become. You're saying this version of me matters. Every rep, every early morning, every moment you choose the hard thing, it's not just building results, it's building you. And that's what matters most. Because success isn't something you chase. It's something you attract by becoming the kind of person who earns it. The kind who doesn't need a perfect environment to grow. The kind who creates their own momentum, who shows up regardless of the weather, the mood, or the odds. Ask yourself, who do I become when no one's watching? What choices do I make when it's hard, when it's lonely, when no one is clapping? That's your character. That's your legacy in the making. And that's exactly what success is drawn to. Consistency, not convenience. You're not going to feel like it every day. But you don't need to. You need to decide. Every single day. To show up anyway. To move forward anyway. To move forward anyway. To honor the promise you made to yourself when you were clear-headed, focused, and full of purpose. Because that version of you, the one who dared to dream, the one who heard the whisper and said yes, that version of you is still here. Maybe tired, maybe doubting, but still standing. And standing is enough to take the next step. You don't need to be perfect. You don't need to have it all figured out. You just need to keep going. Through the boredom, through the resistance, through the days when everything inside you screams to quit. Because that's the moment you separate yourself from the crowd. That's when you stop being a dreamer and start becoming a doer. Not once, not in a burst. You'll become someone it cannot ignore. But even as you embrace the process, there's a shadow that creeps in quietly, your past. The memories of failure, the moments of hesitation, the decisions you wish you could undo. It whispers just as softly as your dreams once did. Only now it carries the weight of regret. And here's where many lose themselves. They confuse their history with their identity. They wear their past like a name tag, forgetting that the past was never meant to define them. It was meant to refine them. You are not your mistakes. You are not the moments you broke down. You are not the person who gave up last time. You are the one who chose to stand back up today. Because the past isn't a prison. It's a classroom. And every failure taught you something the world couldn't. Every disappointment revealed your strength. Every heartbreak carved out space for resilience. If you only focus on the scars, you'll miss the wisdom they gave you. Too many people are driving through life while staring in the rearview mirror. No wonder they crash. You can't move forward while you're obsessed with what's behind you. Yes, the past shaped you, but it's not where you live anymore. You don't owe it your future. There's a kind of power that comes when you finally make peace with your past. When you stop running from it and start learning from it. When you stop wishing it were different and start using it as fuel, your story isn't broken, it's becoming. And the most powerful chapters are often born from the darkest pages. The question isn't whether your past hurt you. It's whether you'll let it build you. Because if you carry yesterday's pain into tomorrow's possibilities, you'll keep reliving the same story in different clothes. The past has only one job, to prepare you. Not to punish you, it's time to release it. To forgive what can't be changed. To honor the lessons without holding on to the weight. You don't have to be the same person you were when you failed. Growth means you aren't. Right now, in this moment, you get to decide what the next chapter looks like. Not based on who you were, but based on who you're ready to become. And that decision, that's power, that's freedom. It's the difference between being stuck and being called forward. You are not broken, you are being built. And the pieces of your past are not scattered ruins. They are the raw material for your rise. So stand tall, not in spite of where you've been, but because of it. The pain gave you perspective. The failure gave you clarity. The struggle gave you strength. Everything that was meant to break you has done the opposite. It built you. You are not the same person you were back then. And that's the point. You've outgrown the old you. The one who doubted. The one who hesitated. The one who apologized for wanting more. Now is your time. Not someday. Not when it's perfect. Not when you feel ready. Now, because your past has already done its job. It's time to stop carrying the weight of what you can't change and start becoming the force that changes everything else. Let the past be the reason you rise, not the reason you stay small. And once you release the weight of your past, something powerful happens. You begin to see your future clearly, not just as a possibility, but as a responsibility. You realize that your life isn't just something you experience. It's something you build. Every day, every decision, every thought, it all becomes part of the architecture of your future. And here's the truth most people avoid. Your future doesn't belong to luck. It belongs to vision. Because without vision, you wander. Without direction, you drift. And when you drift, life decides for you. But you weren't made to drift. You were made to drive, to create, to lead, to imagine a life so bold, so meaningful, so real, that it pulls you forward when your energy runs low, that it keeps you focused when distractions scream for attention, that it gives you a reason to rise before the world wakes up. A clear vision isn't just something to get excited about. It's something that anchors you. Because on the hard days, you don't rise because you feel inspired. You rise because you remember why you started. You remember what's at stake. Without that why, your goals are hollow. They're just ideas. But when your vision connects to something deeper, your family, your freedom, your purpose, it becomes fuel. It becomes the force that moves you when nothing else will. So ask yourself, what kind of future would make the pain worth it? What kind of life would make the work make sense? Don't just think in vague terms. Get specific. Imagine it, feel it, walk in it before you even arrive. Because here's the thing. Your brain doesn't distinguish between what's vividly imagined and what's real. That means the more clearly you define your future, the more your mind and body begin to act in alignment with it. That's not just motivation. That's neuroscience. That's alignment. And alignment is power. Your vision should scare you a little. It should stretch you. Because if it doesn't, it's not vision. It's a comfort zone dressed up in goals. Real vision pulls you out of the familiar and into the uncomfortable. And that's exactly where growth lives. But don't confuse clarity with perfection. You don't need a flawless plan. You just need a direction that speaks to your soul. A target that demands more of you. A future you'd fight for, no matter how long it takes. And when you have that vision, protect it. Because the world will try to water it down. People will project their limitations onto you. They'll tell you to be realistic, to play small, to settle. But they're not rejecting your dream. They're exposing the boundaries of their own. You don't need everyone to understand your vision. You need the courage to walk toward it anyway. To choose it when it's hard. To believe in it when no one else claps. Because vision isn't validated by applause, it's proven by action. So let your vision become your standard. Let it influence what you tolerate, how you spend your time, what you allow into your mind. If it doesn't move you forward, it doesn't belong. Period. The most successful people aren't just talented. They're obsessed with where they're going. They wake up with purpose. They say no to the noise. They stay locked in. Not because they're perfect, but because their vision won't let them waste time. You can have that too. But it starts with this truth. If you don't define your future, the world will define it for you, and it won't be a masterpiece. It'll be a default setting. So take the pen back. It's something you build, one focused day at a time. And once you lock into that future with clarity and conviction, another truth surfaces. You cannot do it alone. Yes, your journey is deeply personal. Yes, your vision is yours and yours alone. But success isn't just about isolation, grind, and going silent on the world. It's also about alignment with the right people, with the right energy, with the right environment. Because who you surround yourself with matters more than you think. You may have the strongest mindset in the room, but if that room is full of doubt, fear, and small thinking, it will shrink you. Not because you're weak, but because energy is contagious. And if you spend enough time around people who settle, you'll start to believe that settling is normal. You weren't built for normal. You were built for impact. You were built to rise. And sometimes that rise requires you to let go of people, patterns, places that no longer align with who you're becoming. That's not cruelty. That's clarity. Understand this. You don't owe anyone access to the version of you that's still healing, still building, still fighting for something better. Not everyone deserves a front row seat to your transformation. Some people only knew the version of you that played small, the version that stayed quiet, the version that didn't believe in themselves yet. But you've changed, and now you need people around you who see that change, who reflect it, support it, and challenge you to keep going. People who speak life into your goals, who hold you accountable to your higher self, who remind you of your strength when you forget. You don't need a crowd, you need alignment. One or two people who get it, who push you, who won't let you quit, who challenge your excuses and stretch your standards. Because success is never just about what you do, it's about what you're exposed to. Your standards rise when you're around people who live at a higher level. You start to think differently, speak differently, act differently, not to impress, but because you've leveled up internally. That's the environment you need. One that doesn't tolerate mediocrity. One that expects greatness, not in the ego-driven sense, but in the disciplined, purpose-filled sense. One that doesn't celebrate how fast you go, but how true you remain to your vision. If you can't find that environment, create it. Become the person you've been looking for. Lead yourself. Set the tone. Build a life that reflects your values, your purpose, your mission. The right people will find you on that path. Not when you chase them, but when you stay authentic to who you're meant to be, because energy attracts energy. So here's the challenge. Audit your environment. Audit your relationships. Ask yourself honestly, does this person, this space, this influence bring me closer to who I want to become? Or further away? And be brave enough to act on the answer. Your future requires protection. Your peace requires boundaries. Your greatness requires a tribe, not of cheerleaders but of warriors. People who fight beside you, not just clap for you. That's how success finds you, not just through hustle, but through harmony. When your environment supports your growth, when your circle reflects your standards, when your connections challenge your comfort, you become unstoppable. And you realize maybe for the first time that you were never meant to walk this road alone. You are meant to build with others who see what you see, even before it's real. And as the right people align with your journey and your environment begins to reflect your future, not your past, something shifts deep within. You start to feel a sense of inner authority. A calm, unshakable confidence that doesn't shout, doesn't need validation, doesn't seek applause. It knows. It knows who you are becoming. It knows what you're building. And most importantly, it knows you are enough, even while you're still evolving. This is the point where most people miss the mark. They keep chasing achievement after achievement, hoping that one more win will finally make them feel worthy. But the truth is, no amount of success can fill the space where self-worth should live, because success isn't just about what you achieve. It's about what you believe about yourself. While you're achieving it, you can build the most impressive life on paper and still feel empty if you don't believe you deserve it. You can reach the top and still carry the weight of every doubt, every fear, every voice that told you you'd never make it. And that's where true power is born. Not from proving the world wrong, but from finally deciding that you're already enough, with or without the applause. When you realize that, your motivation shifts. You no longer chase success to feel valuable. You pursue it because you value yourself already. That's when the grind stops feeling like punishment and starts feeling like purpose. You don't hustle for worth. You build from it. You start showing up because it honors who you are, not because you're desperate to become someone else. That's when your actions gain momentum. That's when discipline becomes love, and the world responds. That's when success stops being this abstract dream. That's when it gets personal. That's when it speaks. And if it had a voice, you'd hear it whisper. Focus on becoming, not pretending. Focus on the inner game, not the scoreboard. Focus on what you can control, your discipline, your thoughts, your energy. And above all, focus on building the version of yourself who already deserves the life you want. Because that version, they don't need to chase success, they attract it. Not with noise, not with desperation, but with quiet strength, with purpose in their steps, with unwavering belief. So now, the question is no longer if success will come. The question is, will you be ready when it does? You already know the answer. Now move like it. And when you finally move, like success is already part of your identity. Not some distant prize, not some finish line to crawl toward, but a natural extension of who you are. You start living differently. You start speaking differently. You carry yourself with a quiet certainty. You stop chasing and you start attracting. Not just opportunities, but alignment, momentum, clarity, and people who mirror the future you're walking into. Because everything begins to change when you understand this core truth. You don't get what you want, you get what you are. This is the final layer, the one most people never reach because they're stuck obsessing over results. They focus on the outcomes, the validation, the external proof of their progress. But the people who truly rise, who create impact, who live full, unapologetic, powerful lives, they know the results are just a reflection of what they've built internally, so the real work, it's not out there. It's in here. You want more peace? Be the person who protects their mental space and cuts out the noise. You want more focus? Be the person who doesn't need external motivation to show up. You want freedom, wealth, love, success? Become the person who creates those things from the inside out. Through intention, discipline, and emotional clarity, everything you seek already exists. Just one level of identity above the one you're living right now. The hard truth? You can't stay who you are and have what you've never had. You must evolve, not change into someone else, but return to who you were before the world told you to play small, before fear dressed itself up as logic, before you started doubting what your heart knew all along. This is why most people stay stuck. They keep making decisions based on who they used to be. They let their past pain, their old limitations, and the voices of others steer their future. But the moment you wake up and say, "That's not me anymore," is the moment you shift the trajectory of your life. Success whispers to you, "I've been waiting for you to step into the identity that matches what you say you want." This isn't about faking confidence or forcing belief. It's about showing up every day with integrity, with alignment, with ownership. It's about no longer entertaining distractions, excuses, or people who don't respect your evolution. It's about raising your standards so high that anything less than your potential feels foreign, uncomfortable, even unacceptable. You were never meant to live a life of quiet frustration, drowning in what-ifs, playing safe because of what might go wrong. That's not living, that's hiding. And the truth is, the longer you hide from the version of yourself that scares you, the bold, brave, world-changing version, the longer you delay the life you were born to live. Because yes, stepping into that identity means pressure. It means responsibility. It means showing up even when you're tired. Even when you're afraid. Even when no one claps. But it also means freedom. It means purpose. It means knowing deep in your core that you're exactly where you're meant to be, doing what only you can do. So the question is no longer, how do I get success? The real question is, who do I need to become so that success is inevitable? This is where everything shifts. Because you stop trying to force results, and you start building the foundation that makes results automatic. You stop needing motivation, and you start living from identity. You stop being at war with yourself, and you start moving with clarity, with peace, with power. That's when your habits stick. That's when your energy becomes magnetic. That's when your work gains momentum. Not because the world finally gave you permission, but because you gave it to yourself. Success isn't louder than your fear. It's just clearer. And it's been speaking to you all along, telling you to focus, to rise, to become. You've heard it before. In your quiet moments, in your frustration, in your dreams that won't die. And now you see it for what it is. Not a someday, not a someday, but a mirror, a message, a mission, waiting for you to stop watching and start living like it's already yours. Because it is, and you are ready.